It's another Jekyll and Hyde weekend for Nashville Predators fans as the Preds win one and lose one. We're going to recap those games with our one word and talk about the single most frustrating part of this whole season. We're going to talk about it on today's Locked On Predators podcast.
You're Locked On Predators, your daily podcast on the Nashville Predators, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to the Locked On Predators podcast. Thanks for making us your first listen of the day. We are, of course, a part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Want to kick off this, oh my gosh, it is Monday episode, shouting out our Locked On Predators insiders and our everydayers who tune in to talk Nashville Predators hockey with us. We appreciate your support and we appreciate the company as we slog through this unbelievable Nashville Predators season. I'm Ann Kimmel. I am a writer and co-host with Penalty Box Radio. And friends, I have a partner in crime.
You do. I'm Emma Lingen, and I'm the Predators site editor and reporter for the Hockey News.
On today's show, Emma, we're just going to jump in and talk about the weekend and not like all the fun we had at Turks and Caicos. No, friends, hockey's back. And the Predators won one, lost one. We're going to talk about those games summarized with one word. We're going to look at some stats that are liars. And then Emma and I are going to share with you the single most frustrating thing about this whole season. Oh, it's going to be amazing. Before we kick off all of that, though, for those of you who are watching on YouTube, I just want to shout out Emma's awesome hard launch of her new office space. Amazing. We have already exchanged office chair links because I have office chair envy horribly now. Horribly.
Listen, I'm so excited about this chair right now. I feel like it looks a little ridiculously large in this frame, but I like to be comfortable. I work from this chair all day. I want to be comfortable. It looks a little big. It is actually, this is not intentional. I did order a big and tall chair. It's actually
because everything about Emma is big and tall. She's like the most fun sized thing since Nick Blankenberg.
People, I am neither big nor tall. Nick Blankenberg is huge compared to me. So yeah, but I look a little maybe disproportionate with this chair, but oh, let me tell you. And it could hold both of us and Minka and, you know, everything we own and still have weight to spare. But I love it. It's so comfortable.
Yes. Well, pretty soon, friends, you will see matching big and tall chairs on the Locked On Predators podcast. Because look, if there is one thing we have earned covering this team this season, it is a little bit of comfort, Emma.
Yeah.
Oh, friend.
We're earned some big and tall chairs.
We have earned some big and tall chairs. We're going to dive into the Nashville Predators talk. Before we kick it off, though, I do want to let everyone know today's episode is brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. Right now, new FanDuel customers can get $150 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. Yeah, Emma, the games this weekend. The Predators come back from this 2-week break. And what better way to come back than to have 4 home games in a row where you play the Colorado Avalanche, the New Jersey Devils. On Tuesday, it's the Florida Panthers. And hey, on Thursday for fun, it should just be the Winnipeg Jets. What could go wrong? Nashville won the first game against Colorado. So now they're just messing with us. And then they played New Jersey. They lost to New Jersey 5-0. Emma, if you had to summarize this weekend in one or more words that are FCC compliant, how would you summarize what the heck we just saw?
Well, I'm going to go 3 words because I'm feeling very powerful in my big and tall chair and I can make my own rules.
Darn right.
My 3 words, and we're back. That is how I would describe it, because the game against Colorado, the win, it was like, oh wow, they beat Colorado. That's pretty good. That's, you know, division rival, and first game back from the break when you're usually a little rusty in a lot of areas, it was good. And then New Jersey. And that was like, up there they are. They're the
Oh,
Predators that we have seen all year. They're back. Don't worry.
look at you.
Just could not buy a goal, and just nothing was going right for this team. Like they could not get anything going against New Jersey. So it was just kind of yep, there they are. We're back.
Yeah. Yeah. This is I guess I could just make this my one word. This is like the boyfriend that you dated in college that you were like, looking back, I knew I shouldn't have. Like, I knew I shouldn't have believed in him. I'm not mentioning any names or anything specific. I'm just saying in general. We all have that one person we're like, should have seen it. Should have seen
Yep.
it. That's this Nashville Predators team. Like, I was laughing with my husband on the way home talking about the game yesterday, and I'm like, I feel gaslit by this team. Like,
Yeah.
1 minute I'm like, look at you. Okay, one step forward. It's come too late. But look at this, like, potentially there's progress. No, friends, there is not progress. There was not progress Sunday night. But we're going to look at some stats coming up a little bit later in the show. And look, we've said it here before, stats tell the truth unless they're lying. And some of these stats are lying to us. If you think this team is gaslighting us, the stats are just straight lying to our face. We, of course, ask our insiders for their one word. Jaden's one word in all caps, tank. I don't think that's their intention, Jaden, but we may just get your wish anyway. I mean, oh, woof.
I don't think they're trying to, but I think, that may be what we end up with.
Make your dreams come true. Rebecca, I love Rebecca. Rebecca is here to keep us on track. Her one word is sloppy, but she adds only 52 more days until we can have hope in the next season because Rebecca is watching the calendar for us. Bless. Macy's one word is what? Because what did I just watch? Yes, we don't know. And we're going to get to that. We're actually going to get to that, Macy. Dustin, look at you, Dustin, trying to paint me in a corner. Dustin's one word tonight is, quote, tale as old as time, song as old as rhyme, Beauty and the Beast. The Preds always seem to follow up a beauty of a game with a beastly performance. Now, Dustin, you challenged me to sing that. I don't think we're ready for that on a Monday, but maybe another day of the week. I will sing something and we'll see what happens to the followers count. Yeah, just what the flag nog, you all. Predators looked pretty good against Colorado. Colorado did not look great against the Predators. And I don't know, it's one of those games where you could walk away and say Nashville really limited what Colorado could do. I think there were definitely some things that Colorado did to shoot themselves in the foot as well. But, at this point in a season like we've had, you kind of walk away from that Colorado game taking the positive, like saying, look at the Nashville Predators, defense first. Look what they can do when they play defense first, Emma. And then we lost 5-0. Defense, not first.
No defense.
Offense, not first either. Turnovers first. Yeah. It was not great. Coming up, we're going to look at the Predators debut of Andreas Englund. We're going to talk about that. We are also going to look at the stats that are straight up lying to our face. We're going to talk about that in a moment. Today's episode is brought to you by our great friends at Wonderful Pistachios. If you are looking for a snack that is both delicious and nutritious, you need to crack into a good source of protein with Wonderful Pistachios. Wonderful Pistachios is one of the highest protein nuts. Each 1 ounce serving has 6 grams of protein, giving you over 10% of your daily value. Plus, they are packed with fiber and better for you unsaturated fats to help keep you feeling fuller longer. Personally, I like the no shell variety. It's a great grab and go snack for busy days. Sometimes I'll be sitting here at my desk working and I'll be snacking on those. Or if you're in the car on a road trip and you just need this little quick protein boost, they are a great go to. If you love the crunch and the crack, you're going to want to get the in shell option. They are a classic favorite as well. So get snackin and get crackin with the snack that packs a protein punch. Visit wonderfulpistachios.com to learn more. Yeah, Emma. So, two very different games, but let's just talk about some numbers. And this is a part of what makes the season so maddening. And let's look at this Colorado game where the Predators won 2-1. Colorado in that game had the advantage in Corsi 4, which is a way to measure puck possession. Just kind of gives you a ballpark idea of like who had the puck more often. They had it 61.6% of that game. They had 11 high danger chances as compared to Nashville 6. They had the higher expected goals for 2.54 to 1.68. Those stats, when you look at those stats, generally tell you like, hey, this is a pretty good indication of who won that game. But it didn't. Colorado had these advantages. Nashville won 2-1. So when you look at those stats and you look at the outcome of the game, Emma, what made the difference in that Colorado game where the stats are straight lying to our faces?
Well, one thing, I mean, there are a few things, but one overall that I would be remiss if I did not point out, UC Saros.
Oh, say it
UC
again for the
Saros.
people in back who might not be able to hear you.
UC Saros was incredible in that
Unreal.
game. Made some unbelievable saves. I mean, that was vintage UC Saros. He was dialed in, and
Incredible.
he absolutely earned that win.
Yep.
Obviously not a high scoring game because we we don't get those here in Nashville anymore.
Not
But
four. Not four.
no. So yeah, the offense was not offensing as has been the case for much of the season, but UC Saros was incredible. I do think too that, like you mentioned this earlier, but I think Colorado just did not look
Mm-mm.
like the Colorado we're used to seeing. They
They did
didn't look
not.
as sharp. Not to say they looked bad per se, but I mean, like, given the disparity in record between these two teams, I would not have, you wouldn't have guessed that. To what they looked a little bit more evenly matched, which is to say they looked like they were playing down to the Predators level a
Yeah.
little bit.
Yeah. In that game too, I thought it was interesting. You said the offense wasn't offensing. Nashville only had 17 shots on goal. I think the difference is A, they weren't trying to be too cute. We're going to talk about that in a minute. B, on the Justin Barron goal, they had traffic in front of the goaltender. They had screened the goaltender with Cole Smith. That's a lot of Cole Smith. Cole Smith, he's the guy that needs a big and tall chair. And then Marchessault got that really weird bounce off the end boards to score a goal. So it wasn't necessarily glamorous, but they got 2 goals on 17 shots. I mean, let's talk about the New Jersey game. Stats that
Do we have to?
lie. I mean, look. I mean, if we only did this podcast when there were exciting and positive things to talk about, this would be your team every once in a great while. That would be the motto of this Locked On podcast. Your team just here and there. Sometimes. Sure. So in the game tonight, Nashville had the advantage in Corsi 4, or in the game against New Jersey, Corsi 4, 58% of the time. Nashville had a 15-8 advantage when it comes to high danger chances for. Those are shots that are taken in areas that generally you are going to score a goal. When it comes to expected goals for, Nashville was statistically expected to score 2.33 goals as opposed to 2.15 goals. Nashville lost 5-0. 5-0, you all. When you look at that 5-0 game, Emma, what is the biggest difference you see that makes the stats big fat liars?
I mean, they could not buy a goal. They just couldn't do it. And now there were a few plays. Now, granted, there were some plays like this in the Colorado game too, so it's not a complete, difference maker here. But I mean, some plays where it's like you have a wide open net, and like Ryan O'Reilly, you have a wide open net. Don't pass it 15 feet behind you. Just shoot the dang puck. Like, I need these guys to be a little bit less selfless, a little bit more selfish, and actually just try to put the puck on the net. Like you said, being a little bit too cute, trying to set up the perfect play. I think that, one thing about that Colorado game, not a lot of special teams in that game. There weren't a lot of penalties. Right. Nashville got 2 power play chances early in the first period. Didn't do a darn thing with either of them.
They did give the Devils players some rest for 2 minutes, which I thought was really showing that Southern hospitality.
Very nice. Yes. Very
Lovely.
Generous.
Super.
So yeah, they did that. And then of course, New Jersey scores, and from then on, I think it was the second goal. That was the one that just a freaking laser. I think it was Dougie Hamilton that scored the second goal. Just like no one saw it. Like, for a split second, I watched it. I was like, did that hit Justus Sonnen in the face? Like, right. I mean, because it was so quick. And nope, just beat him clean. Never saw it coming. Like, how could you? It was so quick. And I think that was the one that it just felt like they were chasing the game after that.
Yeah.
Which is what we've seen all year from this team, is like they fall behind and that's it. It's a kiss of death.
Yeah. Andrew Brunette talked about it in the post game, and he said a lot of times when Nashville falls behind like that, they get impatient and push, like they almost try, not too hard because it's not a statement about effort, but they almost force. And when you do that, then what you do is you create more turnovers. You create more opportunities for offense to go the other way. And you saw that unfold in this New Jersey game, like they were forcing. I also want to go back to what you were saying about scoring goals and passing the puck back. And there were a couple of times in the New Jersey game where literally I was like, if I was at home in front of my television, I would be saying the things, shoot the puck. Nashville, and this is off of the top of my head and not with adjustments for the weekend games, but Nashville was dead last at one point and certainly has not crept up a ton in the standings, friends, in rebound goals. Put the freaking puck on the net and let the guy who is behind you that you have opted to pass back to, let him clean it up. Let him clean it up. They are not scoring rebound goals. I do not need pretty. You do not need pretty, Nashville. You need goals, because there is a confidence, and Ryan O'Reilly talked about that. Like, the New Jersey Devils played with confidence. The Nashville Predators don't have confidence, or it's so fragile that when something like that second goal in the Devils game happens, it's hard to watch. And we've watched it a lot.
It was hard to watch. And really, with the New Jersey game, like, it honestly doesn't feel right singling anyone out, like, because no one looked good. Like, a lot of things were going wrong. It wasn't like, it was because, Justus Sonnen had a horrible game, or, someone
great saves.
He did. Okay. He stopped anything that came his way on the breakaway. Now, shots from the high slot, not so much, but anything on the breakaway, he was all over that. He nailed it. I actually, this is how this game went. I found myself becoming relieved when New Jersey would get a breakaway because I'm like, oh, he's got this.
He's got that.
This. But
Yeah.
when there's traffic around the net, oh, that's what made me nervous.
Yeah.
But no, he had the breakaways. It was fine. But like there were certain, I don't know. Again, this is not to say that either of these guys like cost Nashville the game by any means, because they were, everyone had a rough night. But I think talking about confidence and players lacking confidence and how that takes a toll on the rest of the team. I mean, a couple guys who really stood out to me, not in a good way in that game against New Jersey. Luke Evangelista had some bad turnovers, and Fedor Svechkov, some bad plays, bad miscues. And again, this is not to single them out and say that they were the reason Nashville lost. I mean, there are plenty of other offensive weapons on that team who could have fired at any time, and they didn't. So it's not to put all the blame on those guys, but you can tell, like, a guy like Evangelista in particular, Svechkov not as much because it's his first year. We haven't seen him before. But Evangelista was a guy that you could tell at the end of last year and into the playoffs, you're like, oh, he's knocking on the door of something.
He's getting ready to pop off.
He's playing with a lot of confidence. And this year, I mean, granted, the whole team is bad. He's had some injury trouble. Like, I get it. So I'm not trying to completely write him off and say that, he's washed or whatever. But I just think that he looks like a different player this year. Just like the confidence isn't there. You can tell it's taken a toll on these guys.
Yeah, it's been rough to watch. It's been rough to watch. Coming up, we are going to talk about a player who made his Nashville Predators debut over the weekend. We're going to tell you what we thought of Andreas Englund, and we're going to tell you the single most frustrating thing about the Nashville Predators this season. Today's episode is brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. When the game tips off, the NBA action is just getting started, and there is no better place to get in on it than FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. With FanDuel, you can place live bets throughout the game, so even if you miss the opening tip-off or you want to bet on a fourth quarter comeback, you can stay in the action. And if you're looking for a bigger payout, you can even combine your live bets into a same-game parlay. You'll love using FanDuel's live betting feature because it keeps every moment of the game exciting. Whether you're backing your team for a late game rally or you're picking a player to hit that clutch three, you'll never feel like you've missed your chance. Plus, the app is easy to use, and when you win, you get paid instantly. Right now, new FanDuel customers can get $150 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. That's FanDuel.com for your shot at $150 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. All right, Emma, we do need to check in. Andreas Englund, of course, the Nashville Predators picked him up off waivers, got into the games, of course, played the games. Interesting little tidbit that we learned from Andreas Englund. He played in the AHL for a little while with Justin Barron when they were together at with the Colorado Eagles in the AHL. So I thought that was kind of interesting. They were partnered together over the weekend at times as well. Just initial, I mean, look, it's small sample size. Initial impressions of Englund.
Well, he told us on that first practice that he was defense only or defense first, and I said, thank God. And he is actually, like, he's good. He's the size and the, the physicality that they need back there, especially with Jeremy Lauzon being out. I think that he, he looked really, really good in that Colorado game. Had some big hits, was even getting in there ready to mix it up. Defending, standing up for his teammates too, which was really good to see. He was very noticeable in that game. He was not so much in the second game, but again, no one looked good in that game. You mentioned he and Barron being paired together. They were Andrew Burnett with the freaking line blender early in the New Jersey game.
Early.
But not with the forward lines this time. It was with the D pair. And he changed up. I mean, and this to me, like, it made the wheels completely fall off. I mean, so it started out with Yossi and Shen on the top pairing, Shea Blankenberg as usual on the second pair, and then England Barron on the third pairing. Well, he switched Shen and Barron like almost immediately, it
Quickly.
seemed like. So if you're Roman Yossi going from Luke Shen as a defensive partner to Justin Barron as a defensive partner mid-game, that's got to completely rattle you because, I mean, just playing style, like, could not be more different
Very
between those two
yeah.
guys. I understand maybe you get England and Shen together like that, but I don't know. It's a lot of beef on that third pairing. That is a lot of beef, a lot of
That's a
size.
big and tall office chair right there.
That is a big and tall office chair pairing right there. And I think that, like, on one hand I get it, but on the other hand I'm like, would we not want to spread the wealth a little bit with that?
Yeah.
Because the big and tall defenseman is something that we have been lacking here. So it's like maybe we spread the wealth. And we've also seen Andrew Burnett. We have seen that Justin Barron and Roman Yossi, maybe not the best pairing. So I do think, again, I'm not going to say that alone is what made the wheels fall off in this game, because a lot of things went wrong in this game. It was not just the defense, but I think that definitely, to me, it was very noticeable afterwards that the defense, like, really was not playing well.
Yeah.
After that like immediate switch, it was very, I don't know why. I really don't know why.
Yeah, I thought the same thing. I thought, okay, but we've already seen this and we wanted to see something else. England, God love him, know who you are. I'm a defense first guy. You are defense first, and offense is like 6 or 7 down the line. And you know what? That's really okay. That's really okay. I had a conversation a couple of months ago with Mark Borvietsky on the Penalty Box Radio Show, and he was talking about defensemen are so specialized anymore. Like, there are very specific roles, and it's really okay to not be Roman Yossi because there are very few of those. And so, when you're saying, well, he doesn't generate any offense, it's okay if he's playing very good defense. And I agree with you. I thought in Colorado he played very well defensively. I don't know that anybody played super well defensively in a 5-0 loss against New Jersey. But yeah, I thought, initially, okay.
Yeah. No, but it's hard though. Like, I get it. Know who you are. When he's paired with Justin Barron, he knows who he is. He
knows
is
who
the
he is.
defense. He's the defense. Justin Barron, it's become a joke among us in the press box during games where it's like, oh, hey, look, Justin Barron's in the defensive zone. We don't see that every day. Like, he's the offensive guy. England is the defense. Like, he has a clear role. But you put England and Shen together, well, of course he's going to be like, well, okay, am I supposed to join in on the rush here? Because Luke Shen isn't going to do that.
Yeah.
And that's why it was very strange to me, that decision and how quickly it happened. Not quite sure what Burnett's thought process was there, but let's maybe not go back to that combination against, Florida or Winnipeg.
What could go wrong, Emma? What could go wrong? We talked about this at the beginning of the show. There has been a lot of struggle. It's just been a season of struggle for this Nashville Predators team. But, in talking about it, Emma and I are like, it's so hard. The most frustrating thing for me, we don't actually know anything really about this team for sure more than we did October 10th, 12th. this team, it's nailing Jello to a wall. And I had a moment where I was like, I am trying to put this together. I was talking to my mom, who has gotten into hockey and gotten into the Predators. And she was asking me, well, is it this? Well, no, it's not that. Now, is it the goaltender? That's Saros. No, it's not that. Nope, it's not goaltending. It's not. It is like nailing. The most frustrating thing about this team is we don't really know anything about this team except they can't win. But I don't know why.
But that in itself is a huge problem. That's a huge problem. It is February. It is the end of February, almost March, and we don't know who this team is. That is a massive problem. And again, I think that you look at this roster and you look at it, if you look at the roster as the sum of its parts, you think, okay, we should know who this team is by now.
Mhm.
And again, like everyone back in July, Barry Trotz goes out, makes all these additions, extends UC Saros. It's like, okay, this is a contender. You know, we did say like they're maybe not going to the cup this year.
Mhm.
First year together as a team, that's fine. But like, you know, this is a team that's going for it. And they are so far from that right now. But again, if the roster is the sum of its parts, the parts haven't changed. The parts are all still there. And so that is why I kind of land on coaching. And again, not that the coach is bad, but that it's just a bad marriage between roster and coaching style. And I think that, we've talked about this before.
Mhm.
Andrew Brunette, a younger coach, like a fresh voice. I am all for having more of that in the NHL and not just recycling the same guys over and
Yes.
over through the revolving door. But I think that an Andrew Brunette with this roster doesn't work. I think with this roster that you have, you got to get a guy who's done it before. You need to get I'm not saying these are people the Predators should
Mhm.
hire, but the Peter Laviolette, the
Yes.
Gerard Gallant, those guys. Like,
Yes.
again, I am all for Andrew Brunette, more Andrew Brunettes, getting into the league, but it's like maybe Andrew Brunette has got to go to a team that's, not trying to win right now. And
And he
again, I
wasn't
think
hired to coach a team that was trying to win right now, but that has been
correct.
kind of thrust onto his plate.
Correct.
And that it's a different beast.
Right. I think, he was hired to do a different job, like than what he is, like you said, it's been thrust upon him now. And
Mhm.
again, that's, you can debate for days about whether that's fair to him, whether it's fair to the players, whatever.
Right.
But the bottom line is that with this roster, like even, you've mentioned Carl Taylor before as a
Okay.
guy that we'd like to see. Carl Taylor deserves a job in the NHL. Carl Taylor is not the right coach for this team. You
Yeah.
don't put a Carl Taylor with Steven Stamkos and Ryan O'Reilly and those guys. Like, it's just, I mean, it's the NHL, it's just the nature of the beast. You got to get a guy who's done it before.
Yeah.
And again, not saying that one way is the right way and one way is the wrong way, but I think that with the nature of everything now, with you have this roster. First of all, you can't fire a whole team.
No,
You can't get rid of the whole team and then go out and
especially this
handpick.
one.
Right. And then go out and handpick players that, fit this system. When you have future Hall of Famers and Stanley Cup champions on your roster and they're playing this badly, it's
Mhm.
hard to say it's the players' fault. I mean, yes, it's their fault that they're the ones playing the game, but you know what I mean? Like, I think it's just I don't think that I don't think that Andrew Brunette has ruined these players. Like, you cannot tell me that Steven Stamkos has had the career that he's had. And
Yes.
then after, a few months with Andrew Brunette, he is a bad hockey player now. Like, no.
Correct. That's
It's
correct. That's
it's a systematic thing. And I think that, you got to get the best out of the roster you have. And I hear a lot of people, and I'm sorry, I'm kind of going on a tangent here, but I hear a lot of people, I hear people complaining about Andrew Brunette, not like, oh, well, he needs to adapt and he's not being flexible at all. He is like not willing to change his system, whatever. Well, you know what? The system is why that's what he was hired for. That's what he was hired to do. So asking Andrew Brunette to change and adapt to these players is kind of like asking, I don't know, like asking Luke Shen to be forward. It's like, that's
I
not
don't know.
like,
I know somebody in Media Row that believes he can do that.
yeah, no, but you know what I mean? I think it's like, you're asking him to do the job that he was not hired to do.
Yeah.
And it's not going to go well. Like, he can try, but it's not, that's not where his skills are. So I think that that's kind of how I see it right now. And to go back to your original point, the fact that we don't know who this team is or what the problem is on February 24th is a huge problem.
It's huge. I was from July 1st when the word came down from the hockey heavens that we were getting Steven Stamkos. I'm like, I can't wait to watch Steven Stamkos. And I will tell you this, love that Steven Stamkos is a Nashville Predator, but I don't know that I know any more about his game now than what I knew from having watched him on another team July 2nd. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know that we have fleshed out Steven Stamkos's body of skill set this season. I don't know that I know any more about Roman Josi, Luke Evangelista, Fedor Svechka. We don't know anymore. If you had to write a summary paragraph about this is what I learned about Luke Evangelista this season, I don't know how to write that. I don't know how to write that for Steven Stamkos. I don't know how to write that for Jonathan Marchessault. I don't know how to write that for this team. And like you said, it's February 24th, y'all. We should be able to write a 3-paragraph essay. We got nothing. Yeah, it's bad. In case you were wondering how it is, it's bad. It's not great. And Nashville, like, here's the thing. I mean, I am saying, oh my gosh, and we have to play Stanley Cup reigning champion Florida Panthers and the Winnipeg Jets this week. It's going to be a nightmare. One of their best games was against Winnipeg already this season. So who knows? Who knows? I don't know what's going to happen this week. You all, we are educated. We are educated in hockey. We know analytics. We know, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know. Y'all, we don't know. We just want to write a 3-paragraph essay and we don't even have a good starting sentence. I don't know. But don't worry. That doesn't mean we're not going to podcast Monday through Friday because we still have things to say. We still have things to say. On tomorrow's show, we are going to preview the game against the Florida Panthers. Going to be a really interesting game tomorrow. Also want to talk about a little rumor, a little chitter chat about one Nashville Predators defenseman whose name has come up just in conversation about an interesting little trade idea that's been floated out there. Yeah, I can't wait to get in on that. But anyway, that's going to be on tomorrow's show. So come back tomorrow because we have lots to say about that. We could write a 3-paragraph essay on that topic. Before we log off on this Monday, though, Emma, let everyone know where they can find you, your work, and where you got your big and tall chair.
You can find me sitting in my big and tall chair, and you can find me on social media at Emma_Lingen. You can find my work at the Hockey News. And if there is enough interest, I may drop a link to the big and tall chair on social media. So make sure, give me a follow over there.
Yeah, she's already sent the link to me, and you can bet with my birthday coming up, you may see Anne in a matching big and tall chair. Chair envy is real, y'all. Chair envy is real. You can find my work with Penalty Box Radio, and you can find me on social media at AnnK_Mama on Ice. Friends, that's going to do it for this Monday episode of the Locked On Predators podcast. Thanks so much for making us your first listen of the day. We're going to be back tomorrow. All new episode. We'll see you then.